Is this the best value in Toyota's lineup? I think it is, and I'm going to tell you why today on IPA. Toyota launched the Corolla Cross in 2022 into a crowded subcompact field. Early reviews complained about engine noise and infotainment system. In 2023, the Corolla Cross received minor updates, standard Safety Sense 3.0 on all trims, plus the infotainment system was upgraded to Toyota's latest version, and the engine on some trims received a hood dampener. Let's take a deeper dive into this 2025 XLE trim and see if this is a vehicle I would recommend purchasing. The Corolla Cross is assembled in Huntsville, Alabama in a joint operation with Mazda. It's available in 6 trim levels: L, LE, XLE, S, SE, and XSE. Today's 2005 model is an XLE, and I think it's the sweet spot in the lineup. There are 2 drivetrains available: a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine or a 2-liter hybrid system. The hybrid is all-wheel drive. The naturally aspirated 2-liter is paired to a CVT with a fixed first gear and is available in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The front-wheel drive has a torsion beam twist axle in the back, while the all-wheel drive has a multi-link setup in the rear. Our XLE trim has LED headlights and tail lights, as well as LED accent lighting on the front and rear. We have black painted mirrors, a black painted shark fin antenna, and a moonroof. Although it's the entry-level Toyota crossover SUV, it's only 2 inches shorter than the RAV4 in wheelbase and about 200 pounds less if you get a similar trim. The XLE trim comes with 18-inch wheels with 225/55 R18 Goodyear Assurance tires. Moving to the interior, I find it to be a pleasant place to be. All of your touch points on the armrest, the steering wheel, the shifter, and the center console are soft touch. And the XLE's Softex seats are very comfortable and supportive. This part of the upper door is soft touch, with everything else hard plastic, and the full door in the rear is hard plastic. The dash is hard plastic, but in my opinion that just means it's probably going to hold up better over time. The driver's seat is power adjustable, while the passenger seat is manual. The interior of the Corolla Cross could best be described as typical Toyota. The buttons on the steering wheel, the Safety Sense 3.0 in the dash. The instrument cluster is 7 inches. 8-inch radio with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Manual HVAC controls with auto climate control. You have to pay $50,000 to get that on a 4Runner. Seat heaters for the front seat and USB-C. Wireless phone charger, which I found to work very well and holds my phone. A little bit of piano black and a small but adequate center console. Moving to the rear, hard touch plastics except for the armrest, with a cup holder integrated into the door. 2 USB-Cs and vents for the rear passengers. So the rear seats of the Corolla Cross do both go down, but it does not leave you with a flat load floor. In the front passenger seat, I find that the dash does protrude towards the occupant, but there is adequate legroom. Under the hood of the 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross, you'll find Toyota's 2-liter engine and a CVT with a fixed first gear. This engine is rated to use 0W8 motor oil. Let's get some impressions from the Corolla Cross out on the road. Now again, the Corolla Cross with the CVT, the non-hybrid version, has a geared first gear, and then it switches over to CVT mode. And while in CVT mode, it will fake shift a little bit. As you may have heard, there's a little bit of intake resonance, but it's not too obtrusive. Wind noise is reasonable for this class of vehicle. I think road noise, we only have 8,000 miles on this vehicle, but road noise is minimal at best. Ride is very compliant and soft, but cornering so far as I've been driving this vehicle is very good. Again, we're driving the front wheel drive XLE. It has a twist beam rear axle. You do feel a little bit of stiffness when you're going around corners from the rear, which is good on a front wheel drive vehicle. The all-wheel drive version of this will give you a multi-link rear end. A lot of reviewers like that and prefer that. That's maybe a $1,200 option, I think. My opinion is, if you only need front-wheel drive, just get the front-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive was going to sap a little bit of power on acceleration, and it's just going to cost more. At 70 miles an hour, wind noise does pick up a little bit, but tire noise is still minimal. For performance, I got a 0 to 60 of about 9 seconds for this front-wheel drive XLE. Numerically, that sounds slow, but it doesn't feel that slow. Ride and handling for this Corolla Cross are excellent. The twist beam rear axle does not feel like a downgrade over a multi-link. You can definitely feel the stiffness going around corners. But ride compliance and bump compliance is top notch. Toyota did a really good job with the ride quality on this vehicle. Final thoughts on the 2025 Corolla Cross XLE. As I mentioned earlier, I think front wheel drive should be adequate for most people unless you live in the snow belt. I believe your vehicle is going to weigh less, feel a little more peppy. Although you do end up with the twist beam rear axle instead of the multi-link rear end. So test drive both, see what you think. Personally, as someone who test drove a new Land Cruiser just a few weeks ago, the fact you could get 2 of these for the price of a loaded Land Cruiser, this is a lot of value for the money. Everything in here that you touch still feels high quality. Everything looks good. The graining of the materials is good. The dash and everything you see is typical Toyota. That kind of leaves you looking at the more expensive options and wondering what you're really getting for your money, because everything here feels quality, feels like it's going to last. I think this is old school Toyota. At first glance, things may feel and look a little cheap, but I think this is a vehicle that's going to feel the same after 150, 200,000 miles and 15 years. And it's a vehicle you could choose to drive now and give to your kids when they're old enough to drive. I believe this specific vehicle represents the sweet spot in Toyota's lineup. You get a lot of value for your money. At just over $30,000, including the $500 optional paint, I think it's a very well-styled vehicle. I think the interior is very well done with good texturing and good materials. Everything you touch feels good. The interior is typical Toyota. You have the dual climate control, which you have to spend $50,000 to get that in a 4Runner. I would prefer this vehicle over any Camry and any Corolla. Again, I think this is the value sweet spot in Toyota's lineup. If you don't need all-wheel drive, just get the front-wheel drive. If you'd like a little bit more power, get the hybrid. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate you for tuning in.